friends! Good morning. We are here for story time at the Great Plains Nature Center. My name is Rachel. I'm one of the naturalists. Hello, good to have you here this morning. I have a little friend with me. Let me see if I can pan over and show you her. This is our little pancake-shaped softshell turtle. Because if you've been following us on social media, you know that this week at the Nature Center we are celebrating some very specific aquatic species and their ecosystem roles, specifically nuisance species, and how, you know, when we're spending a lot of time outdoors, we have to be aware of animals that might be out there that we're accidentally helping that we shouldn't be. And so we thought it would be really cool to check out a book that talked about just how amazing some of these pristine aquatic habitats around us can be. So we're going to read Crawdad Creek by Scott Russel Sanders, beautifully illustrated by Robert Hines. This is a book that I got from our gift shop, so you can come grab this copy of the book sometime if you really like it. We also have some other really great titles like Pond Circle, which is more of an ecosystem book, and several books like this. I picked this one because it was the cutest by far. Down by the River, which is a book about a family going fly fishing. Really, really cute. So if you want to continue celebrating aquatic habitats at home with your little ones, check out some of these really cool books that are out there, whether they're from us or from someone else. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started with this book, Crawdad Creek. Which is such a cute name. I hope you guys know what a crawdad is, but if you don't, we will soon find out. I love this little illustration of the salamander. Let me see if I can scooch this over just a little bit. There we go. Awesome. Okay, Crawdad Creek. The creek behind our house talks all the time. It whispers in the hot months when the water is low, and it murmurs in the cold months under a skin of ice. After snow melts or rain falls, the creek nearly shouts. What does it say? I couldn't tell you any more than I could tell you what the frogs are saying when they croak, or the birds when they sing, or the winds when they rustle the trees. I just love to listen. So I'm always glad to visit the creek, especially in the summer when the air is like an oven. How many animals do you see on this page? I see so many, and I see a beautiful bird song. One muggy day, my little brother Michael and I decided to go down to the creek and pan for gold. Dad gave us a shovel for digging up gravel. Mom gave us 2 cake pans for dipping water and swishing the gravel around. We dipped, we swished, hunting for nuggets in our tin pans, and we talked about how we'd spend our money once we struck it rich. I've gone panning for gold in creeks before. It's very fun. Because even if you don't find gold, which you're not going to probably, you find so many other fun things. Look here, Lizzie, he would cry, or look here, Mike, I would cry, whenever we thought we'd spied some gold. But it always turned out to be a shiny pebble or a bit of yellow leaf. I found some really pretty mica that way, though, that really nice, like shiny little flaky rock. There's so many fun things in the creek beds. What we did find were fossils. The curvy outlines of shells, the feathery shapes of ferns, even the slinky tunnels of worms. Oh. Mom told us our fossils were millions of years old. Just think, after all those millions of years, we could still dig up worms in the mud, see ferns curling on the banks, and find mussels hunched in their shells down on the bottom of the creek. Have you ever been fossil hunting? Kansas is a great place to find fossils. I like to think of them as Kansas seashells, because that's what they are. Once, Michael found an arrowhead in the gravel, and he called me to come see. It was a beauty, made from stone the color of chocolate, as long as my thumb, sharp enough so we handled it carefully. The people who chipped the arrowhead, Mom told us, had lived here hundreds of years ago, maybe even thousands. I wondered if those long ago people had ever stood here listening to water burble over the rocks. Wow. Pretty soon we forgot about panning for gold. There were so many other treasures in the creek. Turn over a rock, for instance, and you might find a salamander, all rosy and quick. Turn over a rock, and you were almost sure to find a crayfish, all jerky and pale, with its eyes peering around on stalks and its claws clicking. Now that's a mean-looking crawdad, our own dad said when he showed him one. We showed him one. That's how we got the name Crawdad Creek. Look at that little crawdad. Some people call them crayfish, or... Wait, there's a bunch of words. What's another word for them, Lindsay? Crawdads, crayfish, mud puppies.
Mud puppies.
Mud puppies.
Yeah.
They're so fun. To be fair, I would be scared and clacking my claws too if I were a crayfish. There was life everywhere we looked. Snails grazed over mossy rocks, hauling their houses on their backs. Dragonflies zipped from shore to shore. In quiet pools, water striders skittered around on their 6 bent legs, making bright dimples on the surface with their feet. Turtles lined up on logs to soak in the sun, like green bowls laid out to dry. Every now and again, a snake swam down the middle of the creek, with its head plowing a straight line through the water, and its body rippling behind like a flag in the breeze. Can you see the snake in this picture? There he is. Do you see any other creatures? Oh, there's the water strider. I love watching water striders skate over the water. There's so many fun things to look at when you go to a pond or a creek. No matter how many times Michael and I visited the creek, the frogs always sounded surprised. Crackety, they hollered, then plopped into the water. Fish jumped too, nabbing at bugs, then fell back in with a splash. Silver minnows darted through the shallows. Deeper down, whiskery catfish loafed, their big tails fanning. We described what we saw to Mom and Dad, and they told us the names of everything, or else they helped us look up the names in books. So we discovered the name of the kingfisher, a fat blue and white bird that liked to perch on a dead limb over the creek, then swoop down and gobble minnows. We discovered the names of whirligig beetles and damselflies, and critters so small we had to spy them with a magnifying glass. Kingfishers are so fun too, because if you look on the shores, if there's a steep slope, sometimes you can find their little tunnels that they dig where they can have their babies. So they make their nest inside a tunnel in the creek bed. Also, I think I've heard whirligig beetles taste like Jolly Ranchers. Apple Jolly Ranchers? Is that the whirligigs or is that a different beetle?
No, I think it's a different beetle.
Dang it. Well, I wouldn't recommend tasting strange beetles. We can always give them a little sniff. Okay. Ooh, Dad taught us to recognize the tracks the animals had left in the mud. We learned the 5-toed print from the paw of a raccoon, the 2 pointy holes from the hoof of a deer, the spiky marks of a crow, even the tiny scratches of a mouse. And those, Dad said, pointing at our own barefoot prints in the mud, are Michael and Elizabeth tracks. So can you guys see which ones are the raccoon tracks? They say 5-toed print from the paw of a raccoon. Let's see. I don't see 5 on these. So this must be the raccoon. This must be the mouse. This one, what do you think that one is? And this one, I'll bet you guys can guess. In the warm evenings, just before going to bed, we sat very still beside Crawdad Creek, hoping to see the animals that made the tracks. And sure enough, we saw deer coming down to drink, saw rabbits nibbling and muskrats swimming, even saw raccoons grubbing for mussels in the water. When the weather turned too cool for waiting, Michael and I put the shovel back in the garage and the cake pans back in the kitchen. We never found any gold, at least not the kind you wear on a ring around your finger, but I felt rich all the same. Cold weather or hot, I still go down to the creek every chance I get. There's always something to see. In daylight, the water glows with all the colors of the sky. One morning, a sycamore leaf came floating by, the sides curled up to form a little boat, and there inside, as calm as you please, sat a butterfly. While I watched, the butterfly opened its orange and black wings and flew. On clear nights, before the moon comes up, stars waver on the surface like fireflies. Wind ruffles the water like a hand brushing over silky cloth. In the morning, before I go to school, and at night, before I go to bed, I can hear the mutter and mumble of water pouring over rocks. Even when there are no other critters in sight, I'm never lonesome at Crawdad Creek, because the water keeps talking. And that's the end of Crawdad Creek by Scott Russel Sanders. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this story time. That was such a sweet book. I don't know about you, but maybe I'm a little sappy. I kind of got chills when she was talking about feeling so rich from going down to the water and not finding gold, but just so many cool treasures you can find. And I know a lot of us who were lucky enough to have those experiences at the creek feel the same way. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me to read this book called Crawdad Creek. I hope that you guys get a chance to go explore some creeks or some other really fun aquatic habitats here in Kansas. If you want to find some other cool books like this, of course, there's lots of local places you can get them, including our very own gift shop right here at the Nature Center. We don't have, multiple copies of these books, but we have some really cute books like this book on fly fishing and some other books on ponds for different topics, different age levels, and other fun things. So hope you get to enjoy some of these aquatic habitats. Get outside often and just enjoy what the creeks have to say. I guess that's it. So thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful day. I don't know how to leave this. Oh, there it is. Bye.